So today I have in the Kinky Curly Custard.
Okay.
And I use the AG Cloud Mousse on top of it. Flake City.
AG Cloud on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't put it underneath, but that's something that I still haven't tried that, even though you told me to do that last time. Putting the foam underneath. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it scares me.
Yeah, and I think it's more so a consistency thing. It's not something that you're gonna do with all combos. You know the feeling of I create holds. It's very thick, very concentrated, and I find myself like with products like that where I end up like switching it up because of the consistency. Yeah. Because it's really easy to like use a ton of I create holds, and then you end up like applying. So when you put the foam on first, it's like, okay, it's already hydrated. I don't have to keep spraying my hair down. And now I'm prepped for the consistency that the I create hold has.
So foam is hydrating?
I would not necessarily just like hydrating. Hydrating is like a process, you know. Obviously, it's not just like, oh, pour some hydration in your hair. You know, like, do you ever find yourself? Well, probably you're definitely beyond. You know, like I would call yourself like somebody who's advanced when it comes to doing their hair. Yes. But sometimes for clients, like telling them like, oh, wet your hair back down, like every single section for the consistency of I create hold. It's kind of hard because they don't know if it's too wet or if they should wet the section down, even though the other section felt good. It's a little bit challenging in that sense. Yeah. So putting the foam, like a liquid-based product on first kind of helps. Okay. Wet the hair down without it being too wet. You're not diluting any of your product, so it still has the full capacity and consistency. That was
my concern because it's such a light product. I'm like, if I wet my hair, it's just gonna rinse out. But
but if you don't wet it, then you can get through all your sections and still appreciate that like fast dry time because it's not too wet. So that is more so my reasoning behind that. Also, you have like a gauge of what kind of hold level you're looking for. Sometimes when I'm doing a wash and go, I love volume more than definition. Yeah. So I find myself like going through with the foam. I get good definition, but then I just use like a tiny pump to like glaze over the top. So really, I still get like this feeling, you know, but it's like on day one.
Oh my,
so that's where you have like the spectrum of like, I have control now of what hold. Yeah. I create hold it's really firm. It's really, so.
It's quite firm. I find that, for example, when I use the Weedad moisturizing gel, and I use that with the AG Cloud, it was so nice the day of. Yeah. And then I went to bed, and it was like the stiffest hair I've ever had. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to use a botanical gel, because that's the only way I can get like the look that I wanna go for, but I noticed when I use botanical gels, I really use botanical gels. And I know for a while it was a lot of balancing, like I'm using too much because now my hair is feeling over moisturized. And that's something that I talked about too, is like, I could have probably maintained a good moisture protein balance because some of the products I use have protein in them. Yeah. But I was really slathering it on. So it was kind of like, okay, finding a different balance, which I've been better at with my moisture, like adding water, but I realized every time I add water is still like a chemical. So if I do it too much, it can cause damage. Yes. So that's where I'm at.
There's such a thing as hydro fatigue. If you've done some research around that, and like, especially us in the natural hair community wearing our hair, like we wet it all the time. And it's like then going through a process of like drying it. Are we fully drying our hair? You know, like it's this constant back and forth. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that if you're doing consistent wet styles, that at some point you're like, okay, this feeling is my cuticle. It's been open and closed, like, so it's really easy just to like open the door and like it when you describe that mushy feeling. I have found that protein treatments, you can go there. Which one are you using?
I used one. I used the Aphogee two-step one time. Yeah. People were like,
Yeah. So the Aphogee, it's a popular treatment. Everybody talks about it. It's like, but as far as like actually repairing, you know, like long term, I don't know that it does that well. Okay. I think it's just kind of a temporary fix, but it's just doing like external work, you know, temporarily. And after a while, if you go back to your routine, it's not fixing the problem. Yeah. From a professional perspective, what I find myself doing is using using bond builders.
I'm doing that too.
Yes. Yeah. So Olaplex, and one of my absolute favorites right now is K18. So I just feel like that is more of a long-term fix. You know, incorporating that into your routine is gonna set you up for success, especially if you're becoming like the wash and go type person. Now we go over to somebody who's, I feel like if you follow the industry, everybody who's like wash and go, you know, go power, it's like awesome. But there is like this wave of like, okay, why did we stop loving twist outs and all of that? And twist outs can put you in a similar state, but they're more long term. You know, you find yourself sometimes even using more like leave-in creams, which are more concentrated and have more ingredients, you know, compacted into because it's a cream, you know, versus liquid, you know. It's like a terrible analogy, but like in my head, the way I think about it is like if you're using creams on your head and you're like on your hair and you're doing it consistently, sometimes you don't find yourself getting to that kind of like hydro fatigue like situation, because you're almost like eating like solids versus drinking liquids all the time. You know, do you see what I'm saying? Not the best analogy, but it's like it does make sense where if you're like doing something long term with a more like compact, I wouldn't say like more hydrating or anything, that's not where hydration comes from, but it does have more ingredients and more, I don't want to say nutrients because not all creams, I don't want people to get the idea like, oh, like cream is full of compacted nutrients. No, it just has more ingredients in it. Potentially. Not even, sort of.
Just different. It's different.
It's different. It's definitely contributing more additives like to the hair. Whereas doing wash and goes, it's like, okay, I'm just wet setting it and I'm rinsing it out, wet setting it. Like it's not a long term. The point of a wash and go is to like set the curls in its natural state, its cleanest state, and then put a holding cast, you know, to hold it into place. I do want to like introduce you to, I don't know if you've started using them. Olaplex? Which ones are you doing?
I started using Olaplex. I've been using Olaplex for like a month, a little over a month now, bi-weekly. And I didn't know how often to use it. It's something I should use every week. Like I have the whole line except for the oil and the leave-in and stuff. But I really like it. I've already noticed a difference. I didn't notice like an immediate difference after the first wash. My hair was actually really soft after the first wash. I did realize with the Aphogee protein treatment, I knew it was temporary, but I was like, yo, I need a fix. But it's, so far, I like the Olaplex. I wanted to challenge myself to use it up for like a year and see how that goes. But I wanted to ask you about if it's necessary to use the entire system, so the number 0 and the number 3 at the same time, or if I could just use the number 3.
I think that using numbers 3 is going to be like your most important. Now I do, like when I personally use it, I use 3, 4, and 3, 4, and 5. So that is the treatment, the shampoo and conditioner. I don't really think the rest of them, like yes, they are beneficial. I do use them as additives and treatments when I'm doing, you know, chemical services and everything like that. So that is important because each step you're adding, you know, the correct steps in, but that's your focus when we're talking about natural. You know, like you have virgin hair, like we're not really messing with the other ones. Also, some of them, I feel like, you know, once again, they're good products, but like that was like the heart of their line. That's where you're gonna get the most compacted like focus. The rest of them, it's like, okay, I may prescribe you to use that if you were in a different situation, but I think you're in the pretty standard, like I just need a good treatment, bond building, here's my focus, and you're using it pretty frequently, so you're good.
Since I am going to use up the Aphogee, how often? Is that like a once a quarter, twice a year type of thing, or?
So you do want to use up the Aphogee?
Yeah.
How much did you just get that, like?
I got the
liter to, okay. I mean, if you have Olaplex, I would love for you to just like leave that one alone. Protein treatments, it's one of those things where there's no gauge. You know, like you could be using it very often and then all of a sudden you're like, why does my hair feel so hard? And it's like over-proteinized, you know, hair. Where Olaplex, like it's more on a molecular level and it's like it's gonna solve the issue, but also you're not gonna overload. Like it's there to fill the broken the bonds. You know, the bonds that aren't broken, like, cool, it's just there to make sure like you're maintaining.
Okay.
Where protein treatments, I'm just telling you, if we, you know, you choose to go that route, I would recommend just like focus on the thing that's gonna give you long-term care.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I got the Sally's receipt. So
yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Seriously, yeah. Just, and I don't think people realize that. Like, they come in, they're like, Brianna, I got this this treatment. I'm like, literally, Ulta, Sally's, like, they just, I don't care if you've used it, take it back.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I'd recommend that. Cool. So, how long are you, so you say you're washing twice a week?
Yes.
Yes. So, are you, what day is this?
This is day 6 hair, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew you were going to come in. So,
yeah.
It's one of those. How do you feel about shape?
I love the shape.
Yeah.
Although I am tired of short hair, I'm really glad that I committed to a shape that I like.
Yeah, it's growing out very
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Lovely.
As far as like cleanup and everything today, I don't necessarily visually see anything that I'm like, oh, we need to correct that shape. Obviously, there's a few pieces that I know are sticking outside of the range. So when I go through and do your detox treatment, have you detoxed anytime recently?
The last time I used Olaplex last week, I don't. Is
It's
clarifying
like
detoxing?
Yes, you probably clarified your hair, but just like for scalp purposes, have you?
Oh no, I need to. I think I'm gonna start using an applicator bottle because I don't think I get to my scalp very good.
That's what my focus is. After like people, when I say like they become advanced, you know, where they're like doing their hair on their own, I find that they end up clarifying at home. Obviously, we're still gonna go through and do the process, but I really want to focus on make sure scalp is good, check on the hair, and then also we'll go through and just like trim up any ends.
Okay. Perfect.
Fix it on. So, but I love the shape. I love how it's growing out. Yes, you're making me proud. You're definitely making me proud, and I love it.
Love to hear it.
Yes, cool. So let me go grab. Actually, I have clips, so I'm gonna turn you around.
Okay.
And we'll get started.
I know it's not necessary because I'm just sitting under the dryer. And the heat protectant that I decided to use was the Aveda Brilliant. So I wanted to ask about that. I haven't had it cause, to my knowledge, any flakes, but I did spray it all over my hair before, and I've used it before. But I know for sure it was the combo that caused the flakes this time. But I was wondering if it was potentially causing more harm than good.
Heat protectants, you have to be careful with some of them because they do have, what is the word that I'm thinking of? Heat protectants are trying to create a barrier like on the hair so that obviously it's protecting it from the heat. So anything that is being placed on the hair like as a barrier is gonna like prevent you from like getting your wash and go or getting the definition that you want. Before I like continue answering that, did you use it like before an applied product or did you use it afterwards?
I just used it after as like a finisher.
Yeah.
I would just hear people say like, oh, you're probably ruining like your set. Adding, yeah.
Did you?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if you were, sorry, maybe I misunderstood the question. I thought you used it before. So I was gonna say be careful with like combining products like that because it's like some heat protectants have like silicones and stuff like that. So well, it's just gonna like change your end result if you were using it like prior. It's almost like using a cream, using a softener, and then expecting like max definition. You might feel like you're losing definition. But using it afterwards, if it doesn't mess up your wash and go, then it's not necessarily bad. I find myself using hairsprays in my hair, you know, just for extra hold. And some of my hairsprays have heat protectant agents, like UV agents in it.
Okay.
Is that bad? No. I just wanted extra like hold and spray, you know.
Yeah.
It's an optional thing. It's not a make or break like, oh, if you do this, like you must buy the heat protectant too. But if it doesn't affect your outcome, then you're fine.
I like that you said hairspray because I wanted to start using, I wanted to start using hairspray just for volume on the days when I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Is it
okay to just
okay to like use, or is it adding more buildup in my hair, or is that also okay since I shampoo my hair twice a week?
I think you're fine. If you want to use a hairspray, I use volumizing sprays all the time.
Okay, cool.
And especially like when I'm getting ready to go do my presentation, like I just probably set my hair, but I want like 4-day volume like up on stage, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hairspray it up. Like, you know, I'm just gonna do it. But I also like personally know that like I did just put something in my hair. So if you feel a slight film on the hair, you can't see it, but if you do feel something, just know that that was the hairspray and that's between you and your hair. Like, okay, it's not a bad thing at all. Gotcha. It's additives, it's optionals of helping you get the results that you want. Does it mean that you're gonna suggest it for everybody? Like, no. If somebody's having that struggle at home, maybe now they'll know what to do. Yeah, like that they have that option. I think sometimes like us in the tight curly community, we look at hairsprays and we're like, oh, that's for white people, you know, like, but it's like, no, we're trying to achieve volume, we're trying to achieve hold.
And the thing is, since my aunt's a hairstylist, like I knew better. Yeah. But I wanted to ask again. No, yeah. Because it was like, okay, but what are some of your favorite volumizing hairsprays?
I love Tweed Ads. It's like going up hairspray. I'll show it to you, but it comes out like so fast. Yeah.
Is it in that silver can?
Yeah, it's in the silver can. I love it. It has a good smell. It doesn't like add any like residue to my hair. But because of like the speed of the blast that comes out of hairspray, I definitely feel like it gets the job done. Yeah. And lifting my hair. They also have a hairspray. I think it's flexible hold. Okay. It's flexible hold. I can't think of what other like title may be in it, but it's like kind of a brownish can. I really like that, but it does the job. It just like gives you medium hold. There's also 2 reasons I use hairsprays. There's like those dry hairsprays that like afterwards I'm trying to finish the hair, but then you can also use like wet hairsprays to either reinforce your cast. Okay. I Create Finish is phenomenal for that. That's in the Anderson's line, and I find myself like if I've gone through and blow dried my hair, you know when you use heat, you lose your cast a little bit. Yeah. So if you want to reinforce that cast after you just blow dried, then I'll take I Create Finish and like spray it all throughout my hair just to like still get that cast feeling, but I also blow dried it out to get that illusion of like big volume. Nice. So those are probably my 2 favorites, but at the end of the day, they have like 2 different purposes. Some of them are dry hairsprays, some of them are wet hairsprays. Ah, okay, gotcha.
This smells really good.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is actually Design Essentials Honey Cream. I like this as a prep shampoo. It's a very mild cleanse, so if you ever try it, don't think that you're gonna like use it on your hair and feel squeaky clean. Like, it's just a detangling shampoo. Okay. So whether you have, you know, like severe tangled hair, like it's a great option for those, you know, clients, those people who are dealing with, you know, lots of tangles. But even if you're just like prepping your hair for a deep cleanse, I like to use this shampoo because it helps kind of set your cuticle up for getting ready to apply a stronger shampoo, like a detoxing shampoo with cleansing agents. Have you ever put a shampoo in your hair and felt like your cuticle felt rough?
Clarifying shampoos, absolutely.
Yeah. So clarifying shampoos, the reason that happens is because they have like a higher pH, they have stronger cleansing agents. So when you're going from dry hair to like basically hair that just has water on it, like your hair level is about, if I'm talking pH, it's about like a 4.5. And if clarifying shampoos start to range towards like a 7, sometimes an 8, you just skipped a whole bunch of numbers, you know, and that's like the whole reason why your cuticle feels like Velcro. Because you just, does that make sense?
Yes, because I personally, my phone feels like it's falling. Okay.
You're good.
I personally don't understand why it was recommended by some curl specialists to go straight in with a clarifying shampoo first and then add moisture back into your hair with a moisturizing shampoo. But to me, it just makes sense to do it the other way around.
Yeah, because you're working your way up. Yeah. Up the pH scale. Okay. It's not such a drastic like shock to your hair. a lot of people, when I tell them to use a clarifying shampoo, they're like, oh my goodness, I hate clarifying shampoos because like they make my hair feel terrible.
Right.
It's not doing anything damaging to your hair. It's just that the state that you put it on in your hair is putting your cuticle in a situation where the cuticle tried to just open really fast, and now you're trying to do a lot of work to close it back down. So if I work with a mild, you know, like moisturizing shampoo first, I can go ahead and prep the hair, smooth the cuticle out, and then go through and just like apply my clarifying shampoo on top. And no difference, like there's no difference in how your cuticle feels.
Okay, awesome.
But you'll have clean and clarified hair.
Okay, I have a beef with just using regular conditioner.
Yeah.
Because I can literally feel such a difference between the regular conditioner and a deep conditioner, even if I don't leave the deep conditioner on for an hour or so.
Yeah, for sure.
But since I was dealing with like overhydrated hair, hydrofatigued hair, it felt counterintuitive to deep condition. Mm-hmm. But I decided that's where the protein came in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do a balance, and I'm gonna incorporate my bond builders. And so that was like mid-December of last year. Yeah. So now what I'm discovering is I really like deep conditioning every time I shampoo my hair. Mm-hmm. But I also really like cocktailing. So I'll use like a regular conditioner and a little bit of deep conditioner. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know if it was advantageous to even do that, or I know you're like, you know, you don't need to use deep conditioner, but
here's the thing. So there's always this continuous conversation going on in the hair community of like, do you need deep conditioners? Do you not need them?
Yeah.
I personally, when I wash my own hair, like a good conditioner that, like the conditioner that I use is actually like made as a mask. It just has all the conditioning like ingredients. It's nothing like super, like it doesn't have like any extra protein. It's just like a regular hydrating, like it says mask on it.
Okay.
And that's what I use like all the time.
Okay.
So I think that sometimes we get hung up on words.
Yes.
You know, and we're like, oh, is it deep? Is it this? And it's like, no, sometimes like, I don't know, when you go and like research sometimes how these brands make products, it's a marketing thing of like, yeah, it's like, and I'm not saying for every brand, so you have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
In the ones that you're using, but sometimes it's like, okay, their regular conditioner is like a mild, you know, mild conditioner, and then their deep conditioner is more concentrated, you know? And so I find myself like needing that concentration, especially for somebody who has like hydrofatigued hair. You know, I've been in that situation where you're trying to combat because you're on the other end of the spectrum. So you find yourself using and reaching for something that is going to like balance you out. Yeah. And honestly, like when I'm thinking about when I'm doing someone's hair, like that's my constant thought is like, where do they land on the spectrum? Mm-hmm. Are they somebody who is like at a 4.5, you know, like as far as their natural pH of the hair, or maybe the style that they have been doing has set their hair off a little bit on the other end of the spectrum. So like, then I need to reach for something further on the opposite end to balance things out. It's a whole balancing game. Yeah. So it's not a situation of like, oh, that's bad, I don't use that. Okay. Be careful with the like getting caught up in a deep conditioner. Like obviously if it said a protein deep conditioner or a bond builder, like obviously you just reach for something that has, it's focused in a specific area, and if you don't need that specific focus, don't just try to grab it to solve any of your solutions, you know.
Okay. Here's something new. I want to start using oil again, but as like a Pre Poo. And the reason why I want to do this is because I just like the way it feels. Mm-hmm. Although I don't want to leave it in my hair. So I'd want to like use it as a hot oil treatment, not even necessarily a Pre Poo. I like hot oil treatments, which the best time to do that is probably right before you're going to wash your hair. And so I know we talked about doing Pre Poos before, and they're not really 100% necessary on hair that's not super old or needs it. Yeah. And especially like oil, but I'm thinking of penetrating oil like coconut oil or something penetrating. But I wanted to ask about that before I did that because I didn't want to, how do you say, like mess up my progress where I am now.
So you've made tons of progress, and I wanted, like, it'd be easy for me to just say, no, don't do that. But, like, I think you should, like, understand the why. So let me ask you this first. Okay. What feeling are you looking for? Because you told me that you do it because you like the feeling of it. What do you, obviously, it's something you haven't done in a while. So you're referencing back to a feeling that you were getting with your prior, like, condition of hair. So describe that feeling. What does it feel like?
So I guess I like the feeling of the soft, it's soft, but it's manageable, and it doesn't feel super stripped after I go through it with 2 shampoos. Even if it is a clarifying shampoo, it feels clean, but it doesn't feel like overly stripped.
Yeah.
And one thing, to be real honest, like I've just been caught on a hamster wheel of like natural hair videos, and I've kind of gotten tired of watching just natural hair videos. So I went to Ayurvedic videos and like Indian videos on what they do with their hair, and I'm like, yo, they wash it out, they put it in like it's warm, they put it in their hair, they wash it out after a few hours and continue on about their style. What's so bad about that? But I also recognize that our hair is different. Yeah. So before I wanted to be like, oh, I can do that, but should I do that? So I waited to ask. Yeah.
So a couple of things, the feeling that you're looking for, for prior, like setting yourself up for a clarifying shampoo, I definitely reference back to like the honey cream. I think that's going to give that feeling for you. Yeah. And you're already starting your initial process of like cleansing, even though it's not a deep cleanse. I've described that it's more of a like hydrating and detangling focused shampoo. Okay. But it really does give you like that really soft effect where it's so easy to just separate your hair.
Like a gentle cleanser.
Yes, with ease. So if you're searching for that feeling, I would try that product out and see if you like it. If that's what's going to solve the solution for you. Also, you never want to like start working backwards. You know, you're trying to like you're trying to clean your hair, so then you're gonna like basically put a lot of product on it, and then you're gonna have to double clean it, and so that I think ends up like causing the consumer to waste a lot of product because they're like double shampooing, triple shampooing their hair to get, and then they end up not getting it all out because they don't want to waste their product, and that's where it causes issues, is you have oil left on the hair. So to your comment about other cultures using, you know, oil treatments and everything like that, we do have to take into consideration, like, yes, they have a different texture, they have a different surface texture at that, and they have a different cuticle setup. Oftentimes I'm not saying with everybody's hair, because even like say straight hair or whatever hair texture that you can have a smooth cuticle, you can have a coarse cuticle, you know, surface texture. But when they're using those oils and rinsing them out, like it is easier for you to rinse that out of like straight or wavy hair that tends to have a more smoother surface texture. Okay. Now you putting it on hair that is very tightly curly, the next feeling that you're gonna have like tangles, you know, like that's the spectrum that it may throw you on because of the texture of your hair. Okay. If that makes sense. So then you're gonna be having additional challenges of like, okay, now I need to detangle it. So I would try to maybe switch up your shampoos since you're washing so frequently.
Do you think a double wash is necessary? Because I stopped doing that midweek. I'm like, I'm just shampooing once.
No, I would even say sometimes when I find myself shampooing like twice in a week, I know that my hair is not really like dirty. Yeah. And sometimes I just like do a condition. Like I just go through my hair with conditioner. Now,
so not like a co-wash, but a legit conditioner.
Yeah, just a conditioner. I just rinse it very well, detangle it underwater, and then I just use a conditioner. Oh, so wow. This is kind of like an interesting conversation. This is an interesting conversation because a lot of people, like the topic has been like, stop using oils, stop co-washing, you know, stop. Because people were overly doing it. Yeah. But if we're putting things into the right context now, you put your hair in a state where you're washing so frequently that it's like when I do my second wash, I'm just doing it for like just like pleasure of like, I want to feel like clean again. I want to reset my hair. I want to get my hair wet. Is my hair dirty? Not really. Right. So in that case, is it okay for you to go through and just like condition your hair? Like that's perfectly fine. Now the person that is her brother, the person who's like not washing her hair that often, and she's trying to just use a conditioner and go about her way, like, no, that conditioner is going to get attached onto those impurities in the hair, and you're going to cause buildup over time.
Okay. I made a video where I talked to Cece, and I was like curious because her daughter's hair just mesmerized me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what are you doing? And she talked a lot about finger detangling, and you talked to me about that too. You're like, you don't need to use a tool every single time like you're going through your hair, because that was my problem.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll just comb it. Like, I don't want to use my fingers, it takes too long. But she also mentioned midweek rinses, and I didn't really dive into that too much with her, but she said, you know, she mentioned a treatment, and she never said like a conditioning treatment or a protein. She was just like, you can midweek wash and midweek rinse your hair and do a treatment. And when she said treatment, I automatically thought of deep conditioner. But I guess a deep conditioner protein or whatever you feel like doing is necessary. But I tried that, but I didn't detangle my hair.
Yeah.
And it was a shit show, Brianna. Like, I spent so much time detangling my hair after I was rinsing out the conditioner as I was styling, because I didn't detangle when I should have. And do you think detangling under running water is more beneficial than detangling after putting like conditioner in your hair, since that's like more hydrating?
I find myself doing, like, that's a preference that you have to like
figure out
for yourself, because I go underwater and I have my detangling either with my fingers or with my hand.
Yeah.
When I'm going through with, like, say I am using a tool, I love doing it under running water, because the water like elongates your hair.
Yeah.
And it's a quick, easy like swipe through the hair.
Yes.
But some people who are a little more, you know, cautious about like, okay, that's my water bill. You know, like, I mean, I am cautious too. I'm not trying to like just waste water.
Right.
But they're like, I'm trying to get in and get out.
Yeah.
Then I do understand, like, okay, I'm going to actually just spend more time, like, detangling my hair outside the shower, you know?
Yeah.
Those are, like, it's not a make or break, but it's just, like, a luxury thing of, like, this is what allows me to get my hair done really fast, and I can do it and get out when I'm washing.
See, I'm so glad I asked that question. Because...
because I feel a difference when I'm under running water. Whereas if I just apply the conditioner and try to detangle, like, I just feel
and then still have to wet your hair.
Yeah, and it just keeps like springing up on me. Like, I definitely feel the softness of the conditioner, but my hair is just like it's shrinking.
Right.
It's expanding. It feels good, but it's like, okay, I know that my hair is like longer than this, so if I put it in and then go through under running water, it feels amazing. Like,
put the conditioner in and then go through under running water? Or just the water?
It's kind of a combo. It's like hard to, it's a little bit of both. Because, like, think of it too, if you have a concentrated conditioner, it is helpful to add water to your conditioner to help it to spread.
Yeah.
So I'll put it in my hair and then, like, continuously add water to it, and then go under the water.
See, and that for me is where regular conditioner is good.
Yes.
Because I can use, like, for the, what is it, the Boost, AG Boost? I got like a liter of the Balance in the Boost, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this conditioner? Because I don't really use it. Yeah. But I thought about, like, doing it that way, and it made so much more sense, because even people in my comments were like, Brittany, run your hair under the water.
Yeah, no, it does.
Detangle it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good to know. Shout out to you, whoever said that. Yeah. Thank you, because I would not have asked about it.
It is definitely, it helps. It really does. But I do understand some people are like, I don't want to sit there. Like, that's like, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a game changer, you know. It helps you speed up your time to get in the shower and get out.
Yeah, and that's my main thing. It takes me like 45 minutes to shampoo and deep condition and detangle my hair. But I want to cut that in like half.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's necessary. And neither do you guys. Leave me alone. Yeah. And I'm trying my best.
For you, washing like twice a week, you really shouldn't have to do a massive detangle session.
Right.
Like, because your hair, you set it up for success on that first wash, detangling and shampooing and everything. So you do it midweek. Honestly, put your hair in some sections, rinse the water out, like rinse the product out of your hair. I'll go under running water and just like section by section. condition it. If I do need to cleanse, like if I've been having a week where I've been working out a lot and it's like I really need to like do one shampoo, then do it. It's not a oh, she said don't shampoo, like it's an as needed basis situation. So if you're gonna do that, then just like pay attention to how your hair is feeling. And then just put your hair back in sections and keep it moving. And that I can do in like a good 15-20 minutes, you know, just like get in, put product in, and get out.
Oh wow. Okay, because right now I got consistency down, but the name of the game is now saving time. Like I can't do it.
It's funny that once you get on this track of like correct steps, that time, like now it used to be like you spend a day, and now it's like, okay, I'm spending 3 hours, 4 hours, and now I'm spending like an hour, and now it's like, okay, how can I reduce this time? Which you think about it, where you originally started was a day, you know,
like
so it's
the
like
whole day. This feels great. I love when other people do my hair and it's only once a quarter.
You're
Nobody else
absolutely
does it.
correct. Like as I'm feeling your hair, feels great, but there is definitely, you know, some buildup on the scalp.
Yes.
So I think that's something you'll have to like start working on too. Is that when you're washing your hair and you're shampooing it, and I watch your videos and like I see you focusing a lot on the ends. But after you get your section like stretched out, don't forget to like reach back in underneath and scrub the scalp.
I feel like it's just hard to get the shampoo directly on my scalp. Even when I part it and like try to place it directly on my scalp, I'm not getting it where it needs to be. So I'm gonna.
You just have to be super intentional about it. I find myself like, you know, definitely going through and shampooing the length of the hair, and then I go back and grab like a small pump and put it directly on the scalp, because you still want concentrated shampoo. Concentrated shampoo on the scalp. Sometimes we see all of this foam and we're like, oh yeah, that's a lot of shampoo, that should be enough to cleanse, but there's no concentration in the foam. It's just existing, you know.
I learned after trying to take foam from one section and put it in another, I was like, girl, this is not doing anything. So you think putting a little bit in an applicator bottle, like a small applicator bottle, and getting that directly on the scalp, if I'm having trouble doing that with my hands?
You can. I mean, that's purely preference.
Gotcha.
That is purely preference. If that's the extra step that you want to do and it makes it easy for you, then you can do that. In my view, I think that you can find a nice flow of just like utilizing your hands to just reach underneath and move on to the next section, and not having to have another tool in your hand, you know. One of my favorite, like if it is kind of spa day for you, and you're like, I'm going through doing the full like detangling with, you know, shampoo. I love using Intersyn's, the like scalp scrub. Have you seen that?
I've been wanting to try. I've heard such great
things. Really good. I mean, like, you know, we detox the hair, you know, using clarifying shampoos and letting it sit. But do we ever like exfoliate? You know, like it just it makes so much sense. Because sometimes we can have, you know, just old skin, and it's like, okay, we need to really exfoliate and make your scalp feel fresh. We do it to our face, you know, like it's the same. We still need to treat that skin.
So what about scalp serums? They're not necessarily oils, but how do you use them? Do you think they're beneficial at all, or is it just a fun thing to use?
For some people, it is necessary. For some people, like, and you have to be particular about what serum it is. I have seen serums, you know, that have like hydrocolonic, I always say the word wrong, but acid, you know what I'm trying to say. They have salicylic acid in it, and then like because of maybe their skin condition or scalp condition, they need that extra push, you know, that extra additive. For somebody who feels like they're not really having scalp irritation, or they feel like sometimes their scalp gets very oily, you may find that you don't need those. But some people naturally have like a truly dry scalp, and when I say truly dry, I mean like your scalp, your skin is getting dry, not you have buildup on your hair and you haven't washed it dry. And so those different serums are necessary for them. in that sense, then I do think having an applicator bottle so you can not mess up your style, you know, midweek is important, because you can take the applicator bottle and put it directly
on the scalp.
Yeah.
Okie doke. My arm's tired. So you said the K18 leave-in?
Yes. So it's actually a mask. I'm just going through in sections and applying it evenly to your hair strands. With K18, like, you're not supposed to finish with a conditioner after this. It's meant to be left in the hair.
Okay.
So I am going through and applying mid-shaft to ends, making sure that there's no like tangles anywhere. We've gone through and like detangled pretty well, but I just want to make sure that before I apply product.
You didn't even use a tool. No. She didn't have to use a tool. Love that. Because I've been trying not to use tools.
That is a great way to like speed up your time.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the opposite.
It's not a one and done like comment. Because for some people you need to use a tool. Like if you can't be thorough with your hands in your application, like use an assistant. You know.
Gotcha.
But if you have a good amount of like tension applied on the hair, and I'm like smoothing, and like I'm using my thumb to kind of like utilize to check for like, is there a tangle here? No. If I do feel something I need to separate, I use my fingers and separate like literally every few strands. So if you're that thorough, most of the time you don't really need to use a tool.
Nice.
And then for my like just double checking to make sure I'm in like it really is detangled, then I will just run a brush through it, you know, just to double check right before I apply product.
Makes sense. Yes. And what is this? That's the hair mask? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not in stock anymore, right? That's crazy. Oh. I feel like we talked about so much. So much today.
All the time.
It's so good. And it makes a lot of sense why you'd use a brush when my hair's soaking wet to like comb it out first and then apply the product. Whereas if it was soaking wet, you really wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Nuance.
As your hair gets longer, you definitely want to like prep the state of the hair for product. Whereas sometimes when it's like shorter, it's like, okay, it already like curled up on its own.
Oh, so it's really a length thing. Okay.
Like, I want to be able to extend the cuticle out and not just grab this and apply product onto it, you know?
Yeah.